Round 2 of the NHL playoffs are heating up. We got games being decided with less than a second on the clock. Fans are once again furious at the refs, shocker, and tensions are officially boiling over. We cover it all in today's episode, but before we dive into it, this video is brought to you by Squarespace.
Squarespace is the all-in-one website builder designed to help you stand out online and grow your business. Whether you're launching something new or expanding your presence, it provides everything you need. It gives you the tools to claim your domain, build a polished site, and manage everything in one place. Like I've mentioned, we're cooking something up for coaches and players for the offseason, but with how busy things can get breaking down the playoffs, along with personal stuff like training a puppy, time is valuable, which is why their AI builder has been a lifesaver. It helped me hit the ground running and gave me a beautiful template to build off of moving forward. Even for yourself, if you're a coach or creator trying to monetize your expertise, the setup is smooth and all in one place. Whether it's dealing with payments, shipping, inventory, all of it is super clean and intuitive with Squarespace. So head over to squarespace.com/hockeypsychology to get 10% off your first purchase of your website or domain and use that code hockeypsychology at checkout to make sure you get that 10% off. Let's kick it off with the Jets versus the Stars. The Mikko Rantanen show did not stop in Game 1. A natural hat trick meant that the Stars came out on top to take the series lead. But the encouraging part for the Jets was that Hellebuyck started to look more like himself, and on top of that, they get Josh Morrissey back in the lineup for Game 2. Right out of the gate, the best power play in the league goes to work, and Gabe Vilardi gets the MTS Center rocket. Now, you'll see this work as well when we get to the Carolina and Washington series, but both the Hurricanes and Dallas were the best penalty kills in the league this year thanks to their cohesive aggression. One way to beat that is by using the bumper to suck in the coverage. As Morrissey walks the line and the Killers flex out, they're going to send it over to Ehlers in the bumper. The attention collapses onto Ehlers in that spot. Vilardi can pitch a tent for how much space he has, and it's 1-0 Winnipeg. The Jets, 5-on-5 in this game, were spectacular. They built a 3-0 cushion, but halfway through the game, the best part was the play of Connor Hellebuyck. Now, there's a misconception with goalies that if you're not challenging the puck and getting out to the white ice, then you're not feeling confident. But with Connor Hellebuyck, when he's at his best, he's deep in his net and his movements are limited and efficient so that he can make his saves based on positioning and anticipation rather than sheer athleticism. This game was him in MVP form. Watch his head movement here. 2 quick visual scans. He knows where the threat is and he's able to beat the pass, get set, and there's the glove save. How are ya? Even off of his ridiculous desperation save, he's able to make it because he starts in the middle of the blue paint. So when it is a broken play like a rebound popping out, he's in better position to react, and boy does he make a beauty save. And this is how you know he's on his game. Dallas is moving the puck so well here off the rush, but he stays a little bit deeper, keeps his movement efficient, and reads the most dangerous threat. Because of his size and anticipation, he's almost unbeatable when he's set for the shot. Of course, we know that teams have had success against Hellebuyck when there's traffic in front, but Winnipeg, they did a great job of boxing players out. They let him see the initial shot and then use his positioning to clean up any mess. The Jets, they shut out Dallas 4-0, and Hellebuyck was money. If this is how good he's going to be for the rest of the series, then Dallas may be in trouble.
However, in Game 3, they make life difficult on Hellebuyck right away. Power plays are a great way to do that, so how about a high tip from Roope Hintz? Oh yeah, let's not forget it comes off the stick of Mikko Rantanen too. Back and forth we go. Each Dallas goal was met with the Jets tying it up. Frustrations were definitely starting to boil over in this one, especially for Mason Marchment. He felt Stripes missed a couple calls on him, but apparently he's got a little bit of a rap for embellishing. So he's fed up, and he gives Stripes a little love tap on the shin pads, telling him to wake up. Yeah, I'm just not so sure you can do that, and that probably opens the door to guys turning into Dennis Weidman and fully decking referees. But hey, if that ain't enough to piss off Jets fans, how about this? Game is tied at 2s in the third. Rebound hops out to Petrovic, and he tries to use his foot to kick it up to his skate, but it bounces off Hellebuyck and in. So the league and Gary takes a nice long look at this one. 5 whole minutes of nothingness and replays, but they come to the decision that it was a good goal because Connor Hellebuyck propelled the puck into his own net. There you go. Jets fans are livid, and before they can frantically search the word propel in the NHL rulebook, the moose gets loose. Classic Rantanen with the delay on the entry. Patience, and then all finish, baby. This is a generational run for Mikko right now. Even former Avs teammate Nazem Kadri had to tweet out after saying, Rule number 1, you always got to keep the dogs, #96. The Jets don't recover and they lose game 3 with a sour taste in their mouth. Even worse because after a promising showing for Hellebuyck, he has now allowed 4+ goals in 8 straight road playoff games. Buy this guy a pair of earplugs on the road and play some classical music during the games so that he can't hear a thing. This guy needs to lock in on the road. The Jets may have home ice advantage in this series, but Hellebuyck needs to find his game on the road if they're going to get through Dallas in this series.
The other matchup in the West was Game 2 between the Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, losing 2 at home for the Golden Knights would be just brutal, and the most concerning part for them was that the McDraisaitl combo didn't even play at their best in Game 1. Something that is clicking for Vegas, though, is the power play. It all runs through Jack Eichel. He sets it up, swings it down low to Stone. It goes across to Sabres legend Victor Olofsson, and it's 1-0 Vegas. This is all part of the plan for the Oilers, though. They hate starting games with the lead. So then again, in the second, it's the Oilers' depth that steps up. First, it's Jake the Snake Wallman. He walks in and bombs one. That's followed up by Vasily Podkolzin coming in and just flat out beating Hill with a clean wrister. That's one he wants back. Edmonton has a 2-1 lead, and again, it's poor puck management from Vegas. Draisaitl to Nurse, and Edmonton is up by 2. Vegas, though, you know that power play is going to keep him in it. Look at Eichel. Patience of a monk, just waiting and waiting. He sees that cross-seam pass open up, and bang, Olofsson again with the power play goal. This one's all back and forth. Evander Kane gets on the board, and then Vegas gets 2 back-to-back to tie this game all at 4s and force overtime. But there can't be a playoff game without a little bit of controversy. Nick Waugh for Vegas has the wires crossed just a tiny bit and cross-checks Trent Frederick right in the schnoz. Stripes says, yeah, that's 5 in a game. Get the hell out of here. However, the Vegas kill was dynamite. They kill off the entirety of the 5 minutes. Unfortunately, though, it gets worse for Vegas. Victor Arvidsson goes with the little can opener on Braden McNabb. He goes into the boards and gets hurt. No call on the play. The refs are running with the Stevie Wonder playbook for the calls tonight, and insult to injury, here comes McDavid with a full head of steam. Perry along the wall draws in the D, pinching up, and McDavid has already reached top flight before he's even touched the puck. Jack Eichel, that poor soul, is now tasked with the responsibility of stopping a man who could be pulled over for speeding in the school zone. He catches him crossing his legs, and whoops, sorry Jackie boy, I'll see you later. McDavid, Draisaitl 2-on-1. You know how this ends. The Oilers say goodnight, Jim Kite, and now have 6 consecutive comeback playoff wins while taking a 2-0 series lead. Calvin Pickard came in relief for Stuart Skinner, and he's 6-0 in these playoffs with an .890 save percentage. They don't ask how, they ask how many, and even though it ain't pretty, he's getting the job done right now for the Oilers.
I hope Oilers fans enjoyed that, because in Game 4, out of nowhere, it looks like Stuart Skinner is in the pipes after Pickard was announced day to day. So, buckle up, and you know who's ready to go? The 39-year-old worm, Corey Perry. The guy's Benjamin Button out here. Steps in for the angle change, gets Edmonton on the board, and then doubles down on the power play a few minutes later. 2-0 Oil, and things are looking good, but the Oilers aren't used to playing with leads, ladies and gentlemen. Vegas bounces right back with a goal, and before the end of the period, Riley Smith reminds Stuart Skinner to close his damn legs. 2-2 after the first, and then Vegas takes the lead off a brutal line change for Edmonton. Long change, and the boys get caught with their pants down, and William Karlsson buries. Yeah, Skinner probably wants him back, but all 3 goals aren't solely on him. Whether it was creating a turnover with their layers or creating a speed advantage on the entry, Vegas was able to force Edmonton into mistakes and turn the game around. But we go into the third, and this is what the Oilers do. You call the captain, McDavid. A little bit of accidentally on purpose, maybe just sheer luck, but he passes it. It banks off the D, skate, and in. We're all tied up, going to OT. Wait a second. Puck pops out in the dying seconds. Riley Smith, his first touch here is at 1.9 seconds left on the clock. He fakes the shot. 2 Oilers hit the slip and slide in desperation for the block. We're in code yellow emergency. But Skinner was already burned 5-hole by Smith earlier, so he says fuck it and gets aggressive on the challenge. How aggressive? Well, let's go to the overhead angle here, and as you can see, Skinner ain't even in the damn frame. My guy is lost in the sauce. He's completely out in the white ice. Smith throws it across the crease. It's going wide, and Draisaitl puts it in his own net. My God. The puck wasn't even going in. There's 0.4 seconds left on the clock, and the Knights steal one. everyone in Edmonton is in shock, but Vegas takes Game 3 in dramatic fashion. So, of course, there's tons of question marks about momentum, Stuart Skinner, and what the hell the response would be in Game 4. But right out of the gate, the Oilers come out hunting for blood. Downtown Connor Brown, this guy is a playoff dog. He gets in on the forecheck, causes a turnover, and Adam Henrique buries a minute 27 in. This game was also filled with a bunch of piss and vinegar right away. Trent Frederick and Nick Hague dropped the mitts for the first fight of the playoffs, actually. That means we're buzzing. The Oilers were also not shy in targeting Adin Hill early in the crease to get in his kitchen. Couple flybys, crash the net, let him feel all hot and bothered so that he isn't focused on stopping pucks. So, when the Oilers get their second goal, all hell breaks loose after Kane topples on top of him after eating a cross-check. He's ready to fight Kane. The Oilers are buzzing, and they got Hill visibly off his game. The chef kiss for Evander Kane as he tops it off by telling Adin Hill to close his damn legs. 5-hole cheese beats Hill clean to make it 3-0 Edmonton. Then the Oilers parked the bus and shut down Vegas. Coaching masterclass from Knobloch. He splits up Draisaitl and McDavid in this one with the last change on home ice. So Eichel was frequently matched up against Draisaitl and was only held to one shot on goal. After all the noise about Skinner's play, not only in Game 3, but the entire playoffs, he stops 24 shots and shuts out the Golden Knights in Game 4. What a bounce back for him, and the Oilers go back to Vegas to potentially close out this series in 5.
Now we move on to the Caps versus Hurricanes. Game 1 was a Carolina masterclass. They won Game 1 by spending most of the game in the Capitals' end. They were first on pucks, won battles, put a ton of pucks on net, and repeated. It wasn't until the second period where Washington really started to settle into their game. In Game 1, the Caps overloaded one side of the ice and had the far side wingers slash across to bypass Carolina's pressure. It led to a goal in Game 1, and in Game 2, they get a little bit of lady luck. On the breakout, they go off the boards, and that far side winger slashes across the pressure. That forces Carolina's D to put the puck right in the beak of Gostisbehere. It goes off his face and springs McMichael on a breakaway. He doesn't miss. 1-0 Caps. Now, the Hurricanes coming into Game 2 were the only team in the NHL playoffs who had been perfect on the penalty kill. Not a shocker, considering they had the number 1 PK in the NHL this year, and they play an aggressive box that gets in your face quickly to force you to make a play. Last year, the way the New York Rangers exploited this to knock out Carolina was beating the initial pressure by using the bumper player on the inside. As Carolina begins to collapse inward, the flank opens up and you have yourself a goal. The Caps execute this to a T. Strome takes the pass, beats the initial pressure. He goes to Mr. Wilson in the bumper, and now options open up. Even though this killer anticipates it, things are in motion that can't be stopped, and John Carlson gets one on the power play to make it 2-0. The Hurricanes responded with their own power play goal from Gostisbehere, but Logan Thompson holds down the fort. Now, player of the game for Washington in this had to be Mr. Wilson. No, not the volleyball, but Tom Wilson was an absolute monster in this game. He was making crucial defensive plays, throwing the body, blocking shots. He gets rewarded with the empty netter, and the Caps take Game 2 to tie the series.
However, we move on to Game 3, and one thing was clear for the Hurricanes. They wanted to match the physicality of Washington, and they targeted the grade 8 as a result. Not often you see the Russian machine get hit, high-sticked, and tangled up, but the Canes didn't want to give him an inch. Now, in the first period, the Caps, they did have their game going. Tommy Wilson looking to set the tone right away with a breakaway out of the gate, but Fred X, same-day delivery, says, get that shit out of here. Fred was truly the story in period 1 for the Hurricanes. The Caps had some great looks, but Freddie did a solid job of keeping it all squared up at zeros. That opened up the door for Carolina to put on the clamps. Washington only had 10 shots in the final 40 minutes of this game. Carolina's offense does their job. 2 power play goals. Freddie grabs the shutout, and the Canes take a 2-1 series lead. It's obvious with how the Carolina Hurricanes play their system, the Caps just can't be chasing the game. But unfortunately, in Game 4, they fall behind the 8 ball early yet again. It's another extended possession from Carolina, and Shane Gostisbehere, the ghost, gets on the board. Of course, Mr. Wilson's trying to stir things up. He begins to mock the Hurricanes for the storm surge. But the harsh reality for the Caps is that they're getting outworked in every facet of the game. We talked about the flat-out possession numbers, but the odd man rushes in this series are 28-14 in favor of Carolina. That's the most of any team in the second round, and 3 out of Carolina's 5 goals in this game were scored off the rush. Even though the Caps were able to get within 1 goal a few times in this game, they had to play overly aggressive at the blue line to try and play catch up. They got caught with their pants down, and also, you know it ain't your night when your twig is getting stuck in the boards and heads the other way for a goal against. Carolina takes game 4 5-2, and now the Caps and Ovi are just 1 loss away from booking teeth times in Cabo.
Now on to the Leafs versus Panthers for Game 3. Welcome to the parallel universe where the Leafs have a 2-0 series lead over the defending Cup champs. Even though the parade route is being finalized by everyone in Toronto, these are still the Cup champs and are also still the Leafs. But 21 seconds in, Toronto sets the tone. Matty Nyes on the doorstep, bangs home the rebound off the post. Toronto's humming early. That's followed up by the man who left the island, John Tavares, a little round-the-world action. The Leafs are up by 2. What is going on? But buckle up for a roller coaster. Florida needs a response, and who better than their captain, Sasha Barkov? At first, I thought this sick puppy scored on his backhand while falling down, but turns out Morgan Rielly accidentally puts it in his own net. However, the Leafs get on the power play, and again, it's the man who left the island. Tavares, high tip, Toronto's up 3-1. Panthers need another spark, and who's mixing it up during a commercial break? It's the Rat King, Brad Marchand. He had a great game too, and he's just in Domi's ear all commercial break, just yapping, doing what he does best. He's dragging the boys in the fight, and they answer. Reinhart squeaks one through, and Carlo starts playing pool with his broken twig. He saves the goal. I'm almost sure that would have been a penalty shot, but Reinhart ends up poking it in anyways, so Florida gets it back. Not even a minute later, Bennett shows enough patience to make 2 Leaf defensemen go belly to ice. Joe Wall, as the goalie, has to take the shooter, counting on his D to take away the pass. That doesn't happen, so Verhaeghe has a tap in to tie it. The ball is rolling for the Panthers, and their 4th line steps up. Noshek takes one from range, it hits off of Gadjevich, and goes in. The Bouncers were on fire tonight, and the Panthers have their first lead of the game. Now on to the third we go, where the Leafs start pressing, and all playoffs long, the Leafs have gotten some unexpected offense from their back end, and it comes through again. Morgan Rielly has the bounce go his way this time, shin padding in, the Leafs tie it, and this is going to OT. Now after some back and forth, Florida has Toronto hemmed in their end for 44 seconds. Now, with how the Leafs play defense, they collapse into their slot with the winger flexing out to try and block shots. But with them being tired, Florida knows that they're just going to collapse and that there's going to be space up high to exploit. So they send 2 forwards up high on their possession. Tired legs means that both of these Panther forwards have space to attack downhill with speed. They do just that. Brad Marchand banks it in off of Rielly, and the Leaf fans fall to their knees again because, of course, it's Brad Marchand. But I mean, for God's sake, you got Roberto Luongo celebrating a Marchand OT goal. Canucks fans are sick to their stomach, but the Panthers are back in this series.
So what would be the response from Toronto in Game 4? Well, how about a crash course on how to not start the game? They take 4 consecutive penalties in the first period of Game 4. It's a bold strategy, Cotton, and it does not work out. They do almost come out of it untouched because of Giuseppe Wonderwall standing on his head, but in the dying seconds of penalty number 3, Tkachuk with a perfect bullet pass off the wall to Verhaeghe. 1T, no chance for Wall. Full stop. This was the Panthers' best game of the playoffs from start to finish. Toronto's forecheck is the key to their offense, and Florida did a fantastic job on breakouts to make sure that there was little bouts of sustained pressure. This game could have easily been 5-0 Florida at the beginning of the third period, but Giuseppe Wonderwall was keeping Toronto in it. They were hanging around. The Leafs had their chances. Nyes sailed one over the net on a breakaway, but Bobrovsky came up big to rob him early in the third. Leafs down a goal. They got a chase to get caught on a 2-on-1, and Sam Bennett, public enemy number 1 in Toronto, says, "How's that taste?" and puts the dagger in this game. But you gotta know, this one wasn't gonna end politely. Final seconds, Max Domi comes flying in and hits the captain, Alex Barkov, from behind. That is going to cause ruckus right away. Everybody jumps in, the benches start chirping, and the cameras catch Matthew Tkachuk telling Nylander that he's going to get him next game. He even throws in a little wink too. The Panthers, they eat this stuff right up. Last round, when Hagel hit Barkov, the Panthers responded by giving Hagel a concussion. You go after their guy, they will go after yours, and that means that Game 5 will be war. So, what did you think of round 2 of the NHL playoffs? Who pissed you off? Who surprised you? Let us know in the comments down below, and I apologize for the Marge Simpson voice in some parts of this video. Battling the elements in these playoffs right now, had a nasty cold, but we're battling Patrice Bergeron style. If you want to see breakdowns on every single playoff game, make sure you click the subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you don't miss a thing.